Om Shri Matre Namaha. In this God's creation, there is no religion, caste, anything for love. Because love is God, God is love. Is there anything to God? Nothing. God is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, like this. Love is also like this only. Without knowing this, people are misleading by others, misleading by the fake seeds, fake preachers. We have to know why. It is minimum common sense. Love has no joys, no bounds, no caste, no creed, no religion, etc. Because love is divine. Divine has no nothing. Divine is pure, like crystal, like. Therefore, today I take the topic love has no religion. Let us go with prayer. Shiva Shankara Rudresha Neelakanta Trilochana Itirayanti ye nityam Nahitan badhate kalihi. Being raised in a religious home can have some powerful effects on your life and relationships. Religious institutions can provide moral and ethical education, emotional support, and social interactions. Often, they also teach specific ideas about gender and the types of relationships that are acceptable and non acceptable. Unfortunately, sometimes these ideas lead to attitudes of control and dominance in relationships, and those are not healthy parts of any relationship, regardless of your religious affiliation. These ideas stretch across multiple religions, traditions, and denominations and are often based on belief in and adherence to religion texts and ideas. However, proof texting, valuing one ideal of a faith above other, and mistranslations of original texts help make the case that experts of religious texts cannot be viewed on this own. Instead, they must be more deeply examined within the context of the Holy Book, and religious can be a source of comfort and empowerment in navigating intimate relationships. In an abusive relationship, our one partner believes they have the right to control the other in various ways. This might include telling them how they should speak, who they are allowed to spend time with, or how they should dress. An abusive partner might use a victim's religious beliefs to guilt them into feeling like they deserve to have these decisions made for them, or that they are not being a good follower of their faith if they don't agree to their partner decisions. However, the higher power of most religions gives people freedom of choice. Many major religions teach that followers should strive to model their lives after their higher power, which is partly accomplished by treating each other as the higher power treats them. That means not controlling your partner's choices. just as the higher power does not control anyone. If your partner attempts to control you, it's important to think about the fact that they are not modeling their behavior after the higher power. Healthy relationships include open and honest communication. However, in an unhealthy or abusive relationship, one partner may stay or one partner may try to use religious beliefs to control how and when the other communicates. It's an important to separate religions, institutions, and human interpretations to text and symbolism from your own experience of the higher power, as both are often limited. Additionally, many religions encourage individual to feel like they can communicate with the higher power about anything. In a healthy relationship, both partners should also feel they can do the same with each other. Another decision often influenced by religion is the type of clothing a person wears. Clothing choice is a very important part of one's personal expression of themselves. For some people, the way they choose to dress is a representation of their commitment to their faith. Others may choose to dress in ways that are not direct representations of their faith but that make them feel most comfortable, which can be connected to their religious upbringings. All of these choices are normal and valid. What is important in healthy relationships is that each person feels free to make this choice for themselves and does not feel forced into them or punished by this partner for making any particular choice. Religion can be such an important part of many people's lives. Faith centers can be a source of comfort and guidance, a place to make friends, a place to become more educated about your religion's history, and even a place to meet a partner who shares your beliefs. But religion should never be used to control or abuse another person. Abuse is never okay or acceptable, regardless of your religious beliefs. Now, what is religion? Religion is the fundamental life stance of the person who believes in transcendent ultimate reality. It is an admission of one's total dependence as a creature on the source of being and life, which is spoken of as reverence, gratitude for being and life. It is a reliance on the transcendent for help in living and dying. It is at the root of any spiritual quest. The ultimate reality, however vaguely described, is involved for most who speak of a spirituality as religions. Religion denotes a spiritual tradition, even if not practiced, that gives rise to a way of understanding and living in the presence of numinous. Early formation remains at some level of the person's understanding of the ultimate realities in life. It is a relationship. Moreover, religion is embedded in the culture just as a political, economic, or education. Each of these are dimensions of group life. Each of these are parallel institutions. Religion is identified as an institutionalized system of relating with God or gods, leading to salvation either in this life or another life. Religions are cultural systems for dealing with ultimate reality. However, that reality is defined. Religions are concerned with whatever society or group considers ultimately important. It is a relationship like spirit is to body. It is based on the recognition that spirituality that lacks the structural and functional resources of an institutionalized religious tradition is rootless for both the individual and society. At the same time, a religion that is uninformed by a personal and corporate spirituality is lifeless. While institutionalized religious traditions have many weaknesses in leadership, religion as a tradition is most appropriate context for the development of a mature spirituality personally and societally. It also fosters inter-religious dialogue which unites the human family. Hinduism. Hinduism has the most popularity in India and Southeast Asian subcontinent. Moreover, Hindus believe that our rewards in the present life are the result of our deeds. They follow the doctrine of karma siddhanta. In previous lives, this signifies their belief in karma. Above all, the holy book of Hindus is Bhagavad Gita. Also, Hindus celebrate many festivals. Some of the important ones are Holi, the festival of colors, and Diwali, the festival of lights. Now, let us go for Buddhism. Buddhism religion followers do not believe in the existence of God. However, that does not mean that they are an atheist. Moreover, Buddhism believes that God is not at all the one who controls the masses. Also, Buddhism is much different from many other religions. Above all, Gautama Buddha founded Buddhism. It was not until modern times that religion and psychiatry began to part paths. This separation was encouraged by the psychiatrist Sigmund Freud. After being introduced to the neurotic and hysterical aspects of religion by the famous French neurologist Jean Carcot in the mid 1880s, Freud began to emphasize this in a widely read series of publications from 1907 through his death in 1939. Included among these were religious acts and obsessive practices, psychoanalysis, and religion. future of an illusion and Moses and monotheism. These writings left a legacy that would influence the practice of psychiatry, especially psychotherapy, for the rest of the century and lead to true schism between religion and mental health care. That division was illustrated in 1993 by a systematic review of the religious content of DSM 3rd R, which found nearly one quarter of all cases of mental illness being described using religious illustrations. The conflict has continued to the present day. Consider recent e-letters in response to two articles published in the Psychiatrist about this topic, and an even more recent debate about the role of a prayer in psychiatric practice. This conflict has manifested in the clinical work of many mental health professionals who have generally ignored the religious resources of patients or viewed them as pathological. Consider that a recent national survey of United States psychiatrists found that 56% said they never, rarely, or only sometimes inquire about religious issues in patients with depression or anxiety. Even more concerning, however, is that conflict has caused psychiatrists to avoid conducting research on religion and mental health. This explains why so little is known about the relationship between religious involvement and severe mental disorders. Before summarizing the research findings, it is first necessary to provide definitions of the words religions and spirituality that I am using. There is much controversy and disagreement concerning definitions in this field, particularly over the term spirituality, and space here does not allow a full discussion of these complex issues. For an in-depth discussion, including an exploration of contamination and confounding in the measurement of the spirituality, I refer the reader to other sources. Religions usually have specific beliefs about life after death and rules about conduct within a social group. Religion is a multi-dimensional construct that includes beliefs, behaviors, rituals, and ceremonies that may be held or practiced in private or public settings but are in some way derived from established traditions that developed over time within a community. Religion is also an organized system of beliefs, practices, and symbols designed to facilitate closeness to the transcendent and b to foster an understanding of one's relationship and responsibility to others in living together in a community. Spirituality is distinguished from all other things: humanism, values, morals, and mental health by its connection to that which is sacred, the transcendent. The transcendent is that which is outside of the self and yet also within the self. And in Western tradition is called God, Allah, or higher power, and in Eastern traditions may be called Brahman, manifestation of Brahman, Buddha, or ultimate reality. Spirituality is intimately connected to the supernatural, the mystical, and organized religion, although also extends beyond or organized religion, although uh, extends beyond organized religion. Spirituality includes both a search for the transcendent and the discovery of the transcendent, and so involves traveling along the path that leads from non consideration to questioning to either staunch non belief or belief, and if belief, then ultimately to devotion and finally surrender. Thus, our definition of spirituality is very similar to religion, and there is clearly overlap. For all the research review presented here, given the similarity in my definition of these terms and the fact that spirituality in the research has either been measured using questions assessing religion or by items assessing mental health, I will be using religion and spirituality interchangeably. Approximately 80% of research on RIS and health involves studies on mental health. One would expect stronger relationships between RIS and mental health since RIS involvement consists of psychological, social, and behavioral aspects that are more proximally related to mental health than to physical health. In fact, we would not expect any direct or immediate effects or of RIs on physical health other than indirectly through intermediary psychological and behavioral paths. With regards to mental health, we would expect RIS, religion and spirituality, to boost positive emotions and help neutralize negative emotions, hypothesizing that is services as both a life enhancing factor and as a coping resources. With regard to the latter, there is both a qualitative and quantitative research suggesting that RIS helps people to deal better adversity and internal adversity, genetic predisposition or vulnerability to a mental disorder. Cited here are both positive and negative. Studies reports significant relationships for some topics such as well-being and depression. Here there are too many high quality studies, acute, so only a few examples of the best studies are provided. Coping with adversity. In the first edition of the handbook, we identified 110 studies published prior to the year 2000 and 244 studies published in between 2000 and 2010. And among these reports are descriptions of religion and scripture helped people to cope with a wide range of illusions or in a variety of stressful situations. These include the people dealing with general medical illness, chronic pain, kidney disease, diabetes, pulmonary disease, cancer, blood disorders, heart disease, dental, or a victim problems neurological disorders, the HIV systemic lupus, everything else, irritable, bowel syndrome, caregiver burden, psychiatric illness, bereavement, holy wet the body with rain. In the overwhelming majority of studies, people reported that R&S was helpful. Positive emotions. Positive emotions include well-being, happiness, hope, optimism, meaning and purpose, high self-esteem, and a sense of control over life. Related to positive emotions are positive psychological and are compassionate, forgiving, and grateful. My well-being happiness. By Mind 2010, at least 326 quantitative per reviewed studies with R&S of those 256 found only significant positive association between R&S and well-being only. These studies reported a significant inverse relationship between R&S and well-being. Of the 120 studies, rather you understand what I am using, what the pace I am taking, etc. Used to not particular about it. Hope. At least 40 studies who have examined relationships with R&S, and of those 29. At last, 40 studies have examined relationship with RS, and those 29 reported only. Optimism. We located 32 studies examining relationship with R&S, and of those 26 reported significant positive relationships. Of all the 11 best studies, 8 reported significant positive relationships. Again, as with hope, no studies reported him very relationships, meaning and purpose. At least 45 studies have examined the relationship with R&S, and 42 reported significant positive relationships. These are the studies that we are often in populations according to take decision, it is much more necessary. These studies were often in the population who they are was a challenge had to ask me manually and purpose, such as and people and well with the chronic disability illness. Of the 10th studies with quality ratings of 7 or huge or higher, also 10th reported as the significant prostitute association. Next, self-esteem. Self-esteem have claimed that the RS adversely affects self from because It comprehenses humanity, power, homo, trick, their system entirely. Therefore, it is not so difficult to achieve the things. Those who were more RS and 2 reported lower self-esteem. The 25 studies with the highest method of ideological in 17 reported in the natural way. Sense of control. Although one might expect RS and correlate with the prostitute that previously or positively with an external being of control, and same studies confirm this. The majority of research find a positive, and in the way of attaining the love of God is confirmed. In this way, we can say that love has no religions. Shri Kantai Kalyanadhi Dram Sri Venkatramasa Srinivasa Mangala Mangalasa Sarvai Bhavai Sarvai Shavurvai Radha Mangalam.